Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Oklahoma City University's 2016 Graduate Commencement Celebration. You may photograph your graduate after the ceremony against the blue backdrop set up in the arena. Please do not leave your seat for photographs during this afternoon's ceremony. Without further ado, let's begin the celebration. We present the class of 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, the faculty, administrators, and trustees of Oklahoma City University. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation? Our national anthem will be led by Susan Elise Dillard, who is receiving her Master of Music today from the Bass School of Music. You will find the words to the national anthem on page 41 of your program. This afternoon's invocation is led by Lucas Lee Tarrant, who will be receiving his Master of Music today from the Bass School of Music.
Will you please join me in an attitude of prayer? Creator God, we come to you in celebration today. We come to celebrate and rejoice in our accomplishments. Thank you for the gift of friends, family, colleagues, mentors, and all others who have helped us achieve this major accomplishment. Guide us going forward so that we may be successful and happy in all of our future endeavors. Amen.
You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of Oklahoma City University, Robert Henry.
Good afternoon and welcome. My apologies to those of you who have heard me for 3 times today, but I'm delighted that you are back again. Our university is so pleased on this day. Whether you're a parent, a family member, a friend, or that most exalted of status, a grandparent, if you are here today, we welcome you. We welcome you as you honor your graduates in this special ceremony, an even higher hurdle, a higher degree, their graduate degrees. We're just delighted that all of you are here. Until this week, Dean Parker and Dean Bedford, I thought that our alums in New York were our most active, astonishing group of alums. I find now that there is intense competition for them in the country of Malaysia. We have over 3,000 alums in Malaysia, and wow, are they active. An amazing group of people, and Malaysia is an amazing country. I've had the fortune to visit a couple of times, and I will not be long before I return. The country is a wonderful friend to the United States and a country of ultimate importance in the economy and politics of Asia. Our exciting alums in that chapter brought our attention to a remarkable person. They decided to nominate for our highest honor, the honorary doctorate, a gentleman known as Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai. Now that title, Tan Sri, is rarely given in Malaysia. It's sort of a combination of the Congressional Medal of Honor and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So our honoree has already been significantly honored in his life. He's been brilliantly successful in his chosen occupation, but that's not enough to get an honorary doctorate. He is a philanthropist, that word we talk about, from the Greek words philos, lover, and anthropoi, mankind, a lover of mankind. And our university is proud to honor him today. His biography starts on page 32 of your program. Please read his bio, and you can even Google his name, please not during the ceremony. But when you get home, he is an inspiring example. He began his career as an air conditioner salesman and now presides over a company that produces 25% of the nitrile gloves and medical and technical gloves in the world. So, Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai, would you please join me at the podium as I read the proclamation? Whereas Oklahoma City University is an acclaimed university affiliated with the United Methodist Church and committed to the ideal of servant leadership. And whereas Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai is a gifted entrepreneur who has been recognized internationally for his leadership in manufacturing and commerce. And whereas Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai has received the second highest title that can be awarded by the Malaysian government, as his company, Top Glove, is the largest rubber glove manufacturer in the world. And whereas Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai has been appointed as Employees Provident Fund Board member by the Ministry of Finance of Malaysia. And whereas Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai is honorary president of the Malaysia-China Chamber of Commerce, honorary advisor of the Klang Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and honorary advisor of the Lim Association of Malaysia. Therefore, by the power vested in me as president of Oklahoma City University, upon the nomination of our Malaysian alumni, and upon a unanimous vote of the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you, Tan Sri Dr. Lim Wee Chai, the Honorary Doctor of Business Administration, with all the honors and privileges that pertain thereto.
A very good afternoon. The President, Dr. Robert Henry, Dr. Stephen Aegis, the Dean of Minders Business School, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy and honored to receive today's honorary doctor in business administration. I'm appreciate and thankful to the President, Dr. Robert Henry, for giving me the opportunity to receive this respectable and valuable doctorate degree. Why is education is so important? Why we invest in education? Invest in education is for our future. Education will bring us knowledge. Why is knowledge is so important? Knowledge will make our life better, will improve our health so that we can live together with so many people in the community, in the country, and in the world. So with good knowledge, through good education, we can make many good decisions in what we eat, in what we learn. So, as I say to my friends, job is my hobby. Exercise is my duty. Health is my wealth. If we have good health, it's a good day every day. We can add value every day. So every day we look for area to improve. In order to improve, we must have a knowledge. So university provide a good platform for us to learn. And as an entrepreneur, we appreciate the graduate from the university, our company Top Glove. We employ 300 graduates, fresh graduates every year, including bachelor degree, master degree, and PhD graduate. So we need these talents. An organization or country without talents will not progress. United States is the most powerful economy in the world. Why United States is so powerful? Because they have many talents, good people, and with good quality and quantity. We are a good population of 300 million. So United States deserves to be the best of the best in the world. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, as I alluded to this morning, it's a special joy to introduce the speaker in our graduate ceremony in the afternoon, because that person is a faculty member who has distinguished himself or herself in a remarkable way. The highest faculty honor is the Outstanding Faculty Award. And after a series of meetings, the past award recipients, a tough crowd to be sure, selects the outstanding faculty member from student, faculty, and staff nominations. It has become our tradition to have the recipient of the Outstanding Faculty Award address the graduates at this commencement exercise. We are very, very pleased to have Associate Professor and Chair of the Department of Chemistry, Dr. Stephen Prilleman, with us today. He's been part of the OCU faculty since 2009. Prior to OCU, he taught chemistry and advanced placement chemistry at Harding Charter Preparatory, a remarkable school which he himself helped launch in 2003. If you have not visited that school, I encourage you to do so. It is indeed a remarkable place, an island, if you will, of learning and refinement and humanities and culture and science. While at Harding Prep, he began experimenting with a new kind of teaching, POGLE, process-oriented guided inquiry learning. For his use of POGLE in the classroom at OCU, he was recognized in 2013 with the Excellence in Teaching Award for full-time faculty by OCU's Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. Pardon me. He and his colleagues helped design and prepare for recent renovation the university chemistry labs in the Dawson Leffler Center. If you haven't seen them, take a tour and look. They are remarkable. So we are very privileged to have Dr. Prilleman as part of our community, and I'm very pleased to personally congratulate him for this honor. So will you please join me in welcoming this year's Outstanding Faculty Award recipient, Dr. Stephen Prilleman, who may even tell us about better living through chemistry.
Thank you all. I have to say a couple of thank yous before I begin. My wife Jennifer is here. My wife is a faculty member at the law school, so this is kind of a bonus graduation for her to attend, and I thank her for being here. My mom and dad, Helen and Gerald Prilleman, are here. Jennifer and I are finding out that as parents of young children, you go to a lot of piano recitals and dance recitals and baseball games as parents, and sometimes you're still doing that many years later, so I appreciate you being here. It's a real blessing to have supportive family, and families of the graduates. I know that the graduates appreciate you being here. I also have to thank my academic family here at OCU from across the university, but especially my colleagues in the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. You guys took a risk in hiring a high school teacher for this job, and 5 years later you gave me tenure, and I really appreciate it, so thank you. When I was asked to give the graduate commencement today address, I started thinking about my own graduate commencement. I spent 5 years in the alternative universe that is graduate school, but that came to an end, and I had to decide what to do next. My choices were either to stay in science and join a new lab somewhere else, or I could do something different. And in the back of my head, I'd always had this crazy idea about becoming a high school science teacher. And so for advice, I turned to a very influential person in my own life, my own high school chemistry teacher, Cynthia Makarevich, who I took chemistry from Miss Mack down the street here at Northwest Classen. Miss Mack was a phenomenal teacher. And so I looked to her for guidance, and her class was so amazing because, as a teenager, you don't really know what you're going to do with your life or have any idea. And when I took her class, it was kind of an epiphany that, with the angels singing and the light coming down. And it was how I knew, taking her class, that chemistry was the thing I wanted to do. So I called her up, and she was very encouraging about me becoming a high school teacher. And she said, let me call a couple of people. And within a week, I had an interview over the phone and a job offer to teach at Harding Charter Prep. The moral of this first part of my story is always be nice to your teachers. They may get you a job someday. So by the day of my own graduate commencement, I knew that I was going to be a high school teacher. And I was excited and maybe a tad overconfident about that because I just knew and I wanted to be the best high school science teacher ever. But the reality, of course, was a little different. I struggled through my first year of teaching at Harding, which is always the toughest. And then one day, my second year of teaching, I was in my intro to chemistry class. I had written this, what I thought was this brilliant lecture tying together what they were learning in European history and some of the things I had taught them the previous year in biology. I was talking about color, and I was using beta carotene as an example. It's the compound in carrots that makes them orange. And so I had this whole backstory, and I thought this was really great. And in the middle of this lecture, one of my students raises a hand and says, "Okay, Dr. P, I'm confused. Where do carrots come from?" And this caught me off guard. And I started to say, sort of sarcastically, "Well, you know, you get the seed, you put it in the soil, you water it." And he said, No, wait, are you telling me that carrots are plants?" I'm really not making this up. And I stopped and I said, "Yeah, they're plants. Who was your biology teacher last year?" And the poor kid had to think about it a minute, and he was like, "You were." So you can imagine how that made me feel. Looking back, this was a turning point in my teaching career, and it bothered me for months. This is a moment that I now in my own mind refer to as the carrot incident. And it crystallized a year and a half of frustration of realizing that I wasn't seeing the results in my students that I wanted to see. I had become a high school teacher because I wanted to inspire the same love of science in my students that I had and that my own teachers had inspired in me. And I was spending hours every night writing these what I thought were great lectures and coming up with these clever lab experiments, and the students were not learning. And I knew this every time I graded an exam. Grading an exam as a teacher is one of the most difficult things because not only is it very time-consuming, but also you realize all the things that you have failed as a teacher to convey to your students. Even when I got them to learn, I had trouble getting them above kind of the point of memorization. So they could learn vocabulary words, but not a whole lot else. And it was around the time of this incident that I realized that the connection here was not my students. It wasn't their former teachers. The connection was me. And so the carrot incident forced me to rethink the way I was teaching. I couldn't blame anyone else for this. I had been this student's teacher. I'd had the opportunity in his biology class to have my students plant seeds and grow them and watch them grow and make observations and do experiments and study their flowers. And I hadn't done it. It just never occurred to me. It would have been an inexpensive project, and at the time at Harding, we had no money, so inexpensive was what we were all about. I could have had them in chemistry doing reactions and making observations instead of just talking about it and drawing symbols on the board. And what I was beginning to realize was that I had made a lot of assumptions about my students. I was assuming these kids would learn the same way that had been successful with me. I was also forgetting that I grew up in a house with a yard where there was a garden in the back, and I would help with the planting and the harvesting, and I would even eat some of the vegetables that came out of the backyard. I had all these assumptions and biases about my students, and I was starting to realize that I was going to have to overcome those if I was going to become a better teacher. I'll tell you, as a teacher, you sometimes start to think, well, maybe it's just my students. And then I got this opportunity to be a grader for the AP chemistry exam. When the AP chemistry exams are given to outstanding high school students every year, and they ship all these off to one place. My year, they locked us in a barn in Nebraska. It was at the state fairgrounds, but it was basically a barn. And they lock you in there for 7 hours a day in complete silence and make you grade 100,000 exams. I have not been back. People invite me back. No, I'm good, thank you. But I was assigned to what I thought was this really simple, straightforward essay questions. And I was reading them, and the thing was, over the first few days of the reading, we realized that most students were getting this problem wrong. I mean, not like a little bit wrong, like, oh, you didn't quite get, no. These were completely, utterly wrong answers, all right? They were 180 degrees off from correct, all right? So we had a lot of what we called hard-earned zeros, where the students would write page after page with nothing correct on them. The mode score, the most common score on that essay question, was 1 point out of 8. And these are the best students in the nation taking this test. And other people that were grading that question were outraged, and at dinner they kept saying things like, well, you know, what I tell my students. And after a while, I just wanted to shout at them, it doesn't matter what you're telling your students, apparently, because I've graded 1,500 essays this week, and I've seen 2 right answers. So apparently whatever you're telling them isn't making a difference. And that was the conclusion that I'd come to. What you tell your students in a classroom doesn't really matter all that much. The research is really clear on this. We've got 30 years of research in chemistry and physics and across the board in science education. What matters, it turns out, is creating an environment in which your students can talk to each other and discuss things and confront their own misconceptions, even if those misconceptions are the original nature of carrots. And it turns out a bunch of people had already figured out how to teach in a new way that would address this. And I happened to walk into one of their workshops at an American Chemical Society meeting in 2005. And so I learned at that workshop and a number of since then a new way to teach. I don't lecture anymore. I have already talked more now, today, than I would ever talk in a 50-minute class. What my students do every day is they walk into my classroom, they sit down in groups of 3 or 4, and they work through activities that I've written for them. And these activities force them to answer questions about data that I've presented to them, to try to understand that data, analyze it, and argue about what it actually means. And somewhere in the middle of the activity, they start to grasp the new science. They start to realize what it is they didn't understand coming in and what they need to be getting out of it. And they walk out of the door with the same knowledge that they would have, if not quite a bit more, than if I had been lecturing. What I do during class is I walk around and students raise their hand and ask me questions, and I usually ask them more questions, which drives them crazy, but it gets them where they need to be. Most of the time, I try to stand in the corner and be quiet and listen as they figure it out on their own. Getting used to teaching this way has taken a lot of reorganizing in my own mind what I think it means to be a teacher. You have to understand that all of us sitting here are part of and products of universities, and universities love nothing more than tradition. The university grew out of monasteries in medieval Europe, and you'll notice that we're still wearing their clothes. But unfortunately, not only are we still wearing their clothing, we're still using their teaching methods. The lecture at the university predates the invention of the printing press in Europe. And yet, it is the main way that most of us still teach our classes. The lecture is held in high esteem in academia. We honor people by asking them to talk at major events and occasions. And since I got this award, my students have been teasing me that it's funny that I, of all people, have to get up today and give a lecture. Chemical education researchers over the years have shown that after about 5 minutes of someone talking at you, something like 90% of the students in the room have become distracted. And so graduates way out there, this is your chance to pick back up that there's some guy up here talking to you. I have 2 points that I want to make. The first one is, if you have kids, would you please plant a garden with them? Please take the time to get a pot or a window box and fill it with potting soil and grow seeds. They'll love it, and their science teachers someday will thank you. Every spring, Jennifer and I involve our kids in planting in the garden, and I didn't do this on purpose. My son's favorite thing to plant are purple carrots. The second point and final point I want to make is that most of you will not become teachers or professors, but you will be leaders in your company or your hospital or wherever you find yourself later in life. And at some point, you're going to realize that something you've assumed, something that you took for granted about your field is completely wrong. You will have your own carrot incident. And when you do, you will be frustrated and confused, but then you will start to see things in a new light. And suddenly you're going to realize that all the evidence for your new way of thinking was there in front of you the whole time. And you're going to look around and you're going to find others who have the same problem. And together you're going to start to build a community that can transform the way you do things, that can work together in figuring out a new way to do things in a new and better way. Graduates, I wish you all the luck in the world and Godspeed. Thank you.
We also invite a graduate student to speak at this ceremony, and we've asked Ivan Matip to address this year's graduating class. Ivan is an international student from Cameroon. He came to OCU in August 2012 as a student athlete from Cal State University Bakersfield to join our men's basketball team. As an undergraduate student, he majored in mass comm, specifically public relations. His senior year, he worked as a sports writer for OCU student publications, earning honorable mention in sports reporting by the Oklahoma Collegiate Media Association at the end of his spring 2014 semester. Prior to receiving his bachelor's degree, he was recognized for high academic and athletic achievement by the Chi Alpha Sigma Oklahoma Alpha chapter at OCU. Before he received his bachelor's degree, he applied for a GA position, a graduate position, through the university housing. He worked there for a year. He was awarded a merit scholarship, and to our good fortune, decided to stay at OCU and enroll in the Master of Liberal Arts program. In the summer of 2015, he began an internship with the marketing team at Oklahoma Gas and Electric, OG&E, to acquire work experience. That same summer of 2015, he married Yvette. Please welcome Ivan Matip.
Thank you, President Henry, members of the board, distinguished faculty, members of the administration, parents, family, and friends, fellow graduates of the class of 2016. Standing on this podium today to give this year's commencement speech is by far the greatest honor of my life as a student. The news that I was selected to do this came as a shock to me, but also humbled me and filled me with a great sense of gratitude and appreciation for all the people who have contributed to get me to this point of my life. Believe me or not, 3 months ago, I spoke to Dr. Bennett and told her that I wasn't sure that I was going to attend this ceremony. The first reason is I didn't imagine that I could be asked to speak in front of such a distinguished audience, but also I wasn't sure I was going to have much family around. But then I remembered that life is not about the destination, it's about the journey. And walking on this stage is, to me, one of the very special moments of life that makes it worth living. My journey in the United States began 9 years ago. A teenage student athlete from Africa arrived at Besson Hill School in the small town of Ojai, California, to pursue his dreams of playing college basketball and receive an education. Yes, the road has been arduous and very painful at times, but also incredibly rewarding. I've had the privilege to cross the path of many people, many great people along the way, and I'd like to take the time to thank a few of them. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Yvette, the love of my life, who I was blessed to marry last summer and who did not hesitate 1 second to leave everything behind and follow me and come and live here with me. She's held me down, kept me strong and driven. Let's just say life has been better since she arrived. Yvette, I know that the best of our life is still ahead of us, and I look forward to all the special moments we get to live together. I also want to thank my mother-in-law, Claire, who was here, who came from France last week to represent the rest of the family who couldn't make it to this ceremony. My mother-in-law last summer accepted to let a college student with no money marry her daughter, and sometimes I still wonder how I was able to talk her into that one. I want to thank my dad, the man I admire the most, who couldn't make this trip this year. I know he's proud of me. I want to thank all of my siblings and family members back home whose prayers I know have accompanied me each and every day. I also want to thank my second family in California, who I know is watching right now and has been with me since day one. And to all of you guys who came out to support me in this very special day. Today is also the opportunity for me to thank all the professors that I had over the last 4 years in the Mass Communications Department, the Minder School of Business, and the Master of Liberal Arts program. You guys have pushed me and challenged me intellectually, and if having me in your class brought you half as much joy as it brought to me to be your student, I can consider myself very, very lucky. And to all the people in various departments, the Office of International Admissions, Student Accounts, Student Affairs, the University Housing, and others, thank you for everything you've done for me. A well-known truism in education states that students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. There are many members of our OCU families who don't hesitate to go beyond the call of duty to help us students through our personal struggles. To me, that's what service leadership in higher education are all about. And I think the world needs to know the type of commitment and dedication these leaders bring to our university each and every day. Now, to my fellow graduates of the class of 2016, congratulations. All the efforts, the hard work, the sacrifices, the all-nighters, the difficult capstone projects, the countless hours of reading and writing papers have all finally paid off. There are, however, a few lessons that I hope, like me, you have learned along the way. Like, for example, that to get a great job, yes, you need to study hard and you need to get good grades, but sometimes all it takes is knowing the right people. That in a few weeks at your next full-time or first full-time job, nobody will care that you had the highest GPA in your class. It would all be about your contribution to the organization's bottom line. That you need to be nice to people because the world is much smaller than you think. That business teachers will teach you all you need to know about how to become a successful entrepreneur, but will sometimes admit that they're still trying to figure this whole thing out themselves for their own company. And that you should not expect a massive pay straight out of college, and that if you screw up, it is nobody's fault but yours. Nonetheless, class of 2016, you have earned the right, and really you owe it to yourself to celebrate this day with your family and friends here present. But while doing so, remember that no matter how smart you are or how hard you have worked towards this goal, success always has something to do with people other than just yourself. And that's the people who have supported you financially, socially, or emotionally. So after the pictures and the hugs outside at the end of this ceremony, and before you drive off this campus and swear to never ever come back again, please take the time to say thank you to your mom and dad, to your best friend, your favorite teacher, and your least favorite teacher if you're brave enough. Take the time to tell them how much you appreciate them caring for you and supporting you throughout this journey. And as you move on to the next chapter of your life, remember the following rules and try to apply them if you can. Work hard, work smart, and do both consistently. Be good to people. Don't make excuses and don't cut corners. Keep a good attitude even when things don't look too good for you. Be the best version of yourself each and every day and care for people. And by caring for people, I'm not just talking about caring for your family members and friends and those who already care for you. That's easy. Anybody can do that. I'm talking about going out of your way to care for a newcomer, an outsider, someone who may need a little help a little push to be able to fly on their own. That little attention may just be what this person needed to unlock the door to their dreams and to a better life. That's the story of my life. That's how the little kid from Cameroon that I am was able to get to this point, and that's the message I want you guys to take home with you today. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2016. Thank you, and God bless you all.
We are now ready to confer the degrees. Will the candidates for the master's degrees please stand? President Henry, on behalf of the faculty of Oklahoma City University, it is my privilege to present the 2016 candidates for master's degrees.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Oklahoma City University, and upon the recommendation of the university's faculty, I confer upon you the master's degree with all the honors and privileges that pertain thereto.
Thank you, President Henry. Graduates, you may be seated. Will the candidates for the doctoral degrees please stand? President Henry, on behalf of the faculty of Oklahoma City University, it is my privilege to present the 2016 candidates for doctoral degrees.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Oklahoma City University, and upon the recommendation of the university faculty, I confer upon you the doctoral degree with all the honors and privileges that pertain thereto.
Thank you, President Henry. Graduates, you may be seated. Please join me in congratulating the newest Oklahoma City University alumni. Graduates, you will be directed to the stage by the faculty marshals.
The names of our graduating students will be announced by Dr. Robert Griffin.
As you cross the stage today, after receiving your diploma and shaking hands with President Henry, we invite you to seal your covenant with Oklahoma City University by placing your hand on the gold star located on your right as you exit the stage. The original gold star stands as a point of honor atop the Gold Star Memorial Building, constructed in 1954 for the Oklahoma Methodists who were killed in service to their country. We invite you to celebrate this tradition at Oklahoma City University. Interim Dean Amy Cataldi and Acting Associate Dean Helen Godin will hood the candidates for master's degrees from the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. Nazanin Adiban. Carrie Black. Jenny K. Brown. Kirti Kumar. Sarah Uli Davis. Jennifer Greathouse. Dina Dinky Hammam. Amanda Harding. Ramona Hicks. Najat M.A. Hossein. Peter Huang. Sherry Lee Jensen. Carla Van Zant. May Frances Johnson. Hyojin Young. Inha Young. Amira Hashem. Yonghwan Kim. Deho Kim. Wei Suk Kim. Yunjin Kim. Joshua Lee. Hanye Lee. Wei Ri Liang. Kelsey Myers. Dian Obala. Unju Park. Victoria Renard. Tiffany Walker. Shuani Wang. Francis White. Laura Wolf. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Education degrees in Applied Behavioral Studies from the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. Jennifer Beach. Jill Marie Burden. Lauren Craig. Mark Jensen. Hyunsuk Moon. Rongjang Caroline. Ya Jiang. Lauren Oliphant. April Pillan. Lacey Sheffield. Si Shi. Amy Stahl Sims. Sheila Yumemoto. Patty Shipes. Ashley Wisdom. Lorraine Marie Beaver Wright. Brooke Yaffe. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Fine Arts degrees from the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. Brian Greenyoung. Rebecca Ann Ewing. Catherine Elizabeth Randolph. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Liberal Arts degrees from the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. Nicholas D'Imperio. Valentina Gutierrez. Petra Swice. Matip Maom Ivan Eugene. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science degrees from the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. Lauren Chamness. Jessica Scheel. Sharon Berry Davis. Phil Cross. Emily Marlene Davis. Ali Glazner. Stormy McKay. Tia Mills. Alicia Pierce. Dean Steve Agee and Associate Dean Michael Williams will hood candidates for master's degrees from the Minders School of Business. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science degrees in Computer Science from the Minders School of Business. Hemaja Parvataneni. Sirigireddy Lakshmi Prashanti. Sunil Kim. Hongming Bai. Louis Liu. Su Wang. Manish Dondi Kobani. Navaneeth Reddy Palreddy. Viru Tej Macha. Bharat Kamineni. Shrikant Gondi. Shravaya Kacharangadyala. Rukesh Sigralapali. Tyag Rajya Suchindra. Lakadi Kirte. Tanpur Priyanka. Harish Harigopula. Hashith Reddy Kota. Vijay Vardhan Reddy Kaukutla. Sai Maunish Pomuri. Satya Venkata Krishna Achanta. Robin Kumar. Satya Prasad Kalyan Kadregula. Shivasai Baba. Vamsi Krishna Vandalapu. Ashish Padmantintirewa. Sanketh Reddy Vupunutula. Krishna Sai Nama. Padmaja Ravipati. Mohan Mandalapu. Mahesh Babu Malamapata. Shivananda Reddy Kashidi. Anish God Vigram. Sai Ganesh Kamasamudram. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Business Administration degrees from the Minders School of Business. James Kyle Adair. Michael Albritton. Sironi Alejandro. Betsy Justine Allen. Mitchell Bertram. Michael Joseph Brown. Chad Carmen. Chun Hui Chang. David Clayton. Jillian Coker. Christopher Cook. Saeed El Barri. Joseph Frazee. Anthony K. Fike. Sarah Gaines. James Gambriel. Mark Gingras. Abby Danae Johnson. Will Lidke. Munasa Huma. Jordan Marcados. Susan K. McCurry. Ahmed Munib. Xander Pong. Christina Rackley. Walid Magdi Shaheen. Po Shun Shi. Gautami Walsang. Aditi Sivakumar. Emran Ali Taj. Jeremy James Gardner. Michelle Schuler. Christina Schultz. Matthew Stanfill. Eten Brandy Tang. Reza Tavasoli. Griffith Thomas. Håkan Trengarad. Charles Watts. Tara Wetter. Emily Wilkinson. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science in Accounting degrees from the Minders School of Business. Brian Bates. Joshua Furman. Michael Kretschmar. Alexandra Gruber LeMay. Susan Lunsford. Sonia Matthew. Brian McQuaid. Sarah Wynn. Nikki Smith. Sally Sun. Li Hui Wang. Yi Fen Wei. The following graduates are the first to receive a Master of Science degree in Energy Legal Studies from the Minders School of Business. Dana Ashcraft. Ashley Box. Kevin Chavez. Asia Clark. Charles Delotel. Mandy Edmonds. Laura O'Neill Irwin. Amy Stovall Gwynn. Jamie Lancaster. Ryan Miller. Andrew Joshua Niekirk. Lauren Odquist. Sergio Rivera. Brian Russell. Ashley Steele. Katie Torres.
Congratulations, Katie.
Lacey Walker. Melinda White. The following graduates are receiving a Master of Science degree in Energy Management from the Minders School of Business. Michael Anderson. Michelle Anho. Ali H. Anvar. Brian Carrico. Justin Carter. Brandon Dimmitt. Michael Phelan. Nathaniel Graham. Dave Harford. Cindy Hodges.
Congratulations, Cindy.
Mark Hollingsworth.
Mark, congratulations.
Jamin Jones. Jake Lassen. Daniel Perkins. Timothy Prout. Tommy Smith. Maurice Stallworth. Todd Nicholas Taylor. Travis Weaver. Cassie Young. Dean Mark Parker and Associate Dean Mark Belsick will hood candidates for master's degree from the Bass School of Music. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Music degrees from the Bass School of Music. Caitlin Halsey Craybill. Susan Elise Dillard. Lei Ding. Tessa Rose Grindeldegraff. Tevin Hill. Colton Hines. Rachel Louise Lester. Caleb Mitchum. Ariana Karen Reyna. Samuel Joseph Ritter. Megan Silberstein. Michael DeWitt Talley. Lucas Tarrant. Daryl Jamar Wallace. Paul Williams. Dean Lois Salmeron and Associate Dean Linda Cook will hood the candidates for master's degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science in Nursing degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. Deanna Leigh Barnes. Meredith Elise Branch Crowder. Marzia Kandani. Dean Salmaran and Associate Dean Linda Cook will now hood the candidates for doctoral degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. The following graduates are receiving their Doctor of Nursing practice degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. Donalyn Alexander. Taiwo Aris. Lori Jean Atterbury. Pam Crawford. Courtney Wright Davis. Jacob K. Davis. Jay Robertson. Megan Lorraine Hartsook. Jennifer Lee Hinman. Lauren Virginia Kohler Duroy. Janice Elaine Milligan. Pat T. Wynn. Carmen Filippi. Angela Quick. Karen Daniels Rackley. Jessica Catherine Streller. Tim Tidwell. Lee I. Tran. Dana Harrison Weathers. Ali Wilkie. The following graduates are receiving their Doctor of Philosophy degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. Carol Ann Ammon. Robin Brothers. Alicia Hutchings. Rebecca Lee. Aaron Stratton. Congratulations to the class of 2016.
We now present the Oklahoma City University Covenant. It is a pleasure to introduce the incoming Student Government Association Chief of Staff, David Samuel Hall, University Marshal Lance Marsh, and Alumni Board Vice President John Riesenberg. They will lead the covenant responses found on page 40 of your program.
Faculty, please join me in the response. Just as parents raise their children to leave them, teachers hope to make their students wise enough that we become superfluous. A true teacher has succeeded when a student lives his or her education. We will have taught you well if you know that intelligence is important, but wisdom is vital. Don't just go and do. Go and be men and women of virtue.
Class of 2016, please join me in the response. We have learned much more from you than the syllabus covered, because you have taught us by example. We have learned that knowledge is power, but character is enduring. Thank you for not just doing your job, but for being our teachers.
Alumni, please join me in the response. We all once stood where you now stand, thinking mostly about the future. But as alumni, we know that the past is prologue to the future. Don't forget the gift you have been given here. Find a way to give something back to this community that has given so much to you.
Class of 2016, please join me in the response. We will not forget. As we join the unbroken line of OCU alumni, you can depend on us to think not just about where we're going, but about where we're come from. We pledge to honor Oklahoma City University and uphold the United Methodist tradition of academic excellence, spiritual development, and service to others. We are not just OCU graduates, we are now proud OCU alumni.
Please stand for the benediction led by Carla Renee Van Zant, who has been awarded her Master of Arts today from the Petrie College of Arts and Sciences. Then join together in singing the Alma Mater led by Tevin Germain Hill, who has been awarded his Master of Music today from the Bath School of Music. You will find the words to the Alma Mater on page 41 of your program.
Let us pray. Awesome God, today as we reflect on the journey that brought us to this unique and meaningful point in our lives, we are honored and privileged to celebrate this momentous occasion with our family and friends on this graduation day. Each of us took a different path to this moment, and we thank God for the road that brought us here together to celebrate. We faced what seemed to be insurmountable obstacles, but you guided our footsteps and helped us conquer the impossible. We experienced some of our greatest joys as we successfully completed class after class, requirement after requirement. And now here we sit on the cusp of the rest of our lives, trusting you to guide us into uncharted territory. As we prepare to move beyond this moment into different fields, passions, and geographical locations, help us to trust you, our God, to guide our lives. Increase our faith and our persistence. Give us a spirit of excellence like your prophet Daniel. The knowledge that we have acquired throughout our years at OCU, our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations, and our goals, we place them in your mighty and capable hands. Empower us to use all that we have learned to impact this world in a magnificent and mighty way. Embolden us to become strong leaders, involved citizens, powerful professionals, genuine role models, and committed disciples. Allow us to become all that you have called us to be. May we never forget this moment. May we never forget how powerful we are because of the Almighty God that dwells within us. So now I pronounce your benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. In the name of God the Creator, God the Savior, and God our Sustainer, amen.
so stately and tall. Cherish your noble name, but hold still more dear your wisdom, truth, and faith to us given here. Your sons and daughters, scholars so true, carry your banner high of white and blue. May those who are to follow in future days find light to guide their steps in all their ways.
We ask that you please remain seated during the recessional. And now we proudly present the Oklahoma City University graduates of 2016.